Welcome, everyone, to Expat Hoops, where we talk to basketball players who have played professionally overseas. Today, we talk to Giordan Watson. He played for Central Michigan from 2004 to 2008 and is the school's all time leader in assists and fifth in all time scoring. His pro career started in Germany, taking him all through Europe, most recently putting him on the Romania Cup winner for 2020.
As a reminder to help us grow this podcast, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we have new content. Now, if you'll join Tony and I in welcoming Giordan to Expat Hoops. Welcome, Giordan.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for having me. A slight correction. I am the second in assists right now. Somebody broke my record. I think
somebody broke your record. Ago. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a guy named Chris Fowler. Yeah, he broke my record. All right. So I got to give him some respect on that.
Okay. Do you have any eligibility left?
Maybe the COVID rules.
But I wish. It's funny because when I left there, I was fourth in scoring, I think, behind like Dan Marley and all these guys. And I was like 11 points behind like third. And I'm like, man, I should have sacrificed a couple of assists. You know, got a couple more points.
Well, that's actually a good place to start. From 2004 to 2008, you attended Central Michigan. We could go through, I mean, your name just populates a lot of the record books. If it's not first, it's definitely top five in a lot of categories. What were your top memories from your time at Central Michigan?
Wow. I remember coming on campus because I went there late. I went to prep school. So I graduated high school in 2003. I went to prep school, like post-grad prep school in 2004. Went the whole year, had like a few offers after the season. And then I went to visit Central in like June, I think. And if anybody knows the recruiting process, that's like really late, you know? So I went there in June. Nobody's on campus. I'm talking to the coach. He's just walking around, showing me the campus and all that, but like nobody's there. So I ended up committing there. So that was one of the things that stood out. And then I don't know, just playing. Like I just really fell in love with the process of getting better, you know, just like when you're still young like that, you still need to be working extremely hard because that's just kind of what propels you. And then when you're working hard and you see results, you kind of fall in love with that process. So that was like my whole college experience. Like I can vividly remember times where I would have a bad shooting game. It would make me crazy. So I would go to the gym the next day, or we would have practice. I'm going back at night, getting a lot of shots up, and the next game I'm hitting my shots, scoring the ball, hitting tough shots. And then it's like you just fall in love with that process of really seeing what it takes to be successful. That's really like the most of the memories I have.
I guess the way you described your committal process is kind of interesting to me. Can you expand on that? Why did you commit so late, and why did you end up choosing Central Michigan despite like a visit in the middle of the summer?
That's just how it went for me. Honestly, like I had like some Division II offers coming out of high school, some junior college offers coming out, and I always felt like I was better than that. Not to say like you can't get to where you want to get to from these schools, but I felt like I had more to give the game of basketball with my talent and my work ethic. So I knew a guy before who went to this prep school. My dad was really, really helpful in the whole process. So we went there. And then I was getting a few offers as the year was going on. But there were a lot of, because the school I went to was in Maine, Bridgeton, Maine. And so a lot of the schools were on that East Coast, Northeast area. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. And then I got this, like Central Michigan came in late, you know, so I think it was a chance for me to come back home. You know, like I said, really helpful. My dad was really, really helpful. You know, he told me like, man, you should come back home. And it's like at that age, you're still kind of listening to your dad. You don't know. My dad got a great basketball mind anyway. So I took his advice. And then like I said, they came in late, but we went to visit. Everything worked out. The point guard that was there was actually leaving. So I knew I would have a chance to come in and play right away. So with those two things, it was kind of like a no-brainer.
I was going to say, I know that in our research that you were the leader of the assists all 4 years. So, I mean, that obviously is indicative of the fact that you got to play right away.
Yeah. And it was funny, man, because it was like coming out of high school, I scored a lot, but it was like my personality and my mindset is always like, man, like I want to do this together. Like, I don't want to just be that guy, you know? So it was a journey learning how to like get other guys involved and play. So it was like, I was averaging a lot of turnovers, just out there kind of playing crazy, but I had that experience. I think I averaged like 36 or 38 minutes I think, one of these years there, so everything I'm learning is just throw me in the fire, I'll figure it out, and I had that experience. Now we lost some games for sure, but I like that process and that experience of being able to play was just amazing.
Well, at some point, we talked about this a little bit off the pod, that you started playing against some guys that had already graduated and everything like that. And this kind of is a good segue into when you decided to become a pro. We talked off the pod, of course, that it was always a dream to play professional basketball, but getting down into it in terms of in your college career, when did that kind of occur to you to actually say, okay, I should really start looking to go professional? And how did that journey look like to you?
Yeah, so I always wanted to play in the NBA from like a little kid. Like I always wanted to play professionally, right? And I always thought I would go to the NBA. I didn't know the path or how, what happened. I just really believed and was just a big dreamer and thinker that like I'm going to the NBA somehow. And then I think we would be playing in the summer, and a lot of alumni will come back and play with us. And then they're telling me they're playing in this country and they're making this much money and all that. And then we go to open gym, and I really feel like I'm killing this dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm a sophomore, junior. He's playing where? And I'm like, I really feel like I'm killing him. Step backs, game winners. Like, and I felt like it was kind of easy also. Not to take anything away from these guys because they're really, really good players. But I'm like, man, okay, if these guys are doing this, and then I'm over here in college still playing and competing with these guys, I definitely feel like I can play in Europe, So that was my moment where I was like, okay, like I know this NBA thing doesn't work out, for sure I can go play in Europe. And it wasn't any like thought in my mind about it.
So fast forward to when you're actually starting to get towards leaving of school, the end of school. I think we also talked off the pod a little bit about how one of the guys actually was pretty instrumental in linking you up with an agent that led to your first deal, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was a guy named Tim Kisner. He played at my school a couple years before me, but he would always come back and keep in touch with the guys and play with us. And I don't know, he just connected me with this guy, an agent that actually had just finished his career playing in Europe. So he brought me a few offers, and then he got me to the offer in Germany my first year. I went over there. It was actually I went kind of late because I think they probably started preseason around beginning of August, and I didn't go until I think I can remember I left on September 1st actually. Yeah, so they were getting rid of a guy. It didn't work out with him, so they brought me in on a 2-week trial, and then I went over there. And it was funny because again, like I'm going to a foreign country, I have no clue of what's going on. So I'm thinking everything I'm hearing is like when you get to Europe, you got to be a point guard. They want you to score, but you got to do it in different ways. And so my first game, we're practicing for a couple, probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then no, a week and a half, yeah, because that weekend is when the trial ended. We're practicing. We go play a game. First game, I have like 9 points, like 4 assists, whatever, thinking I'm running the team, playing good defense, pretty good. The coach pulled me to the side. He's like, man, I need you to score like a little bit more. I'm thinking like, bro, what? Like, this is actually what I do. You know what I mean? Like, please, thank you for telling me this, actually. So then the next game I come out, I have 27. Next game I have 24. It was just interesting because I knew like I could score, but then I see my teammates are kind of unhappy. Like, okay, like now they want the ball. They're not getting the ball when they like it. So it's like, okay, the coach is telling me to do this, but I know I got to keep these guys involved and happy. So it's kind of like, this is being point guard in Europe. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to score, you got to be able to create, but then you got to keep guys in rhythm, keep them happy. So I learned that kind of early. Like, so it's always navigating that field.
Germany's pretty high level basketball, and you spent 2 years in Germany. You seem to have a good deal of success. Afterward, you go to Iceland, which no disrespect to Iceland, but Iceland isn't quite on the German league's level. You have a good amount of success in Iceland, though, too. You Super Cup in 2011, Company Cup in 2011, Premier League and champion there in 2012. What was your decision to end up going to Iceland ultimately like? Was it business or something else? And how was your experience there after playing in Germany?
It actually came down to like I was doing a lot of things. Like I said, I always wanted to play in the NBA. So I'm doing a lot of things with the D League, with the D League at the time, it's G League now. So I'm going to different trials there, workouts there, and I'm turning down opportunities in Europe, trying to chase this dream, So it's like, it gets to the point where it's like turning down offers, doing these G League tryouts, not working out. Teams not keeping me, saying we like you, but this and that. So it's like now you're turning down offers in Europe, going on a wish, and then next thing you know, it's December, you don't have a job. It's like, okay, January, you don't have a job. So it's like, man, like the worst thing that could happen is you go this whole year without playing, So I'm like, man, I knew it's funny. The team in Iceland that I went to, they had a relationship with the president of the team in Germany. So I guess they would always watch our games. And then I think they saw that I didn't have a job. Like I was just at home. They're like, man, what's up with this guy Watson? Like we really like him. And we come to end up working out like that. So that was my first year. Yeah, that was my first year in Iceland. And then I played good. And I went back. And then because I was like, man, let's just go over there and win a championship at least. You went to Iceland for like half a season, not even. You got to just put a whole season together and do good wherever it is. So I did that. And then it worked out a little bit. We were in the championship, won the cup. Things were cool, but that's really how it went. I turned down some offers. And then next thing you know, like you just got to get a job and go play. So it worked out like that.
So actually one of our early guests, and she's still involved with our podcast. She started out in Iceland, and kind of this is a little bit of the conversation we would have with her, off the pod and stuff like that. Ever really get used to being dark so early and everything like that? And then like
man, it was a crazy experience. So like when you get there, it's like the end of summer. So it's still kind of bright and then it's like when fall, winter hit, it's like, man, 6 o'clock at night, dark, maybe even before that. And then as the season's going on, you're leaving in April. I think it got dark at like 10 o'clock at night. I remember we won the championship and we're partying. It got dark maybe at like 10 o'clock at night. And then the sun was back up at 2 a.m. Like it was some of the craziest thing like I've ever been a part of. It's like you appreciate these experiences, like getting a chance to go to all these geysers, the Blue Lagoon and different things. Like you appreciate that because it's like nowhere in the world is like Iceland at all. And it's funny, they have some of the coolest people I've ever met. Like, man, I'm getting invited to eat dinner at people's house like every night. Like it was just really, really was like an amazing time.
Yeah, that's definitely sort of one of the things is where we're trying to say is like, yeah, I mean, basketball wise, it may not necessarily be one of the elite for overseas, but certainly one of the more enjoyable experiences. I think I haven't heard a single person say I didn't enjoy my time in Iceland. It's between the natural beauty and the experience. It's like you said, pretty much like no other.
Yeah, and the seafood there was like amazing. Like I remember one time they brought so a lot of the guys in our city was a port city, so it's like right by the water. So like some of the managers or whatever, they work as seamen also. Like they go out to catch fish. So I remember one time, man, they brought us like some lobster they had just caught like hours ago. And I tell you, like if you eat, like when I eat lobster and seafood now, it's like no way is this comparable to what I had. So I remember they just brought it. We were eating at the dinner table. They had just a mound of lobster, some toast and butter. And it was probably like the best like meal I ever had in my life, man. It was amazing.
Yeah, Iceland's a nice place to live. There are some adjustments you have to make, as you said, with the certain seasons being certain ways. I mentioned this actually with Fallon. This was over a year ago now when we talked about this with Fallon. But one of the things I've always wanted to do is during the summer, around the summer solstice, it's basically light out 24 hours for a couple of days.
Really?
I wanted to just like play golf at like midnight, like tee off at midnight and, use the light to go about at night. So that's always something that it's on my list of things to do.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool place. I think everybody should visit there.
So you like the Arctic Circle so much, you decided to stay there. You ended up in Finland. Tell us about the Finnish League. We haven't had many people that have played in Finland. We've had some other people that have played in Sweden and I believe Norway is one of the more popular destinations. What is the Finnish League like?
Finnish League is so it's one of the few leagues where they actually play a lot of games in their domestic league. So we were playing 2 games a week in our domestic league. We had like 4 rounds where you play each team like 4 times. So it was like, yeah, that's one of the few leagues in Europe where you're actually like playing like Wednesday, Saturday. Like you're always traveling, you're playing the games. you're leaving game day. And so it was like you go on a road trip. Sometimes it'd be 6 hours, you get off the bus, play a game, coming right back. So it's different in that aspect of a lot of games. It's not like you going the night before, staying in a hotel. It wasn't as detailed as some of the other countries. But they have a lot of coaches over there who are actually smart and understand basketball a lot. So when I say detail, I guess I meant like going night before a game, getting your rest. Like, no, you're going on the bus before, play the game, going right back type stuff. So yeah, but they play up and down. It's an undersized league, so it's a lot spread out, playing pretty fast. But yeah, it was a good time. I only played there for 1 year, but it was a good time.
Well, after that year, you wound up going to Romania for the first time. You're actually sitting down with us from Romania now, and you've spent a considerable amount of time in Romania. Take us through the first season or the first time that you were in Romania, and sort of what kind of might have like planted the seeds for you to come back to the country, and why it's been so comfortable for you ever since.
It's funny, when I first got here, I was like, where am I at? Like, one of the first times I was like, what is going on? But it was cool. Again, it was in a situation where I got to play and just really kind of be myself with things. I met one of my best friends, Porter Troop. I think you guys had him on here a few episodes ago.
Yep.
Yeah, I met one of my best friends. He was on that team actually, and he really is probably like a big reason why things went so smooth for me here, because he had been here before, and he's just got the personality that's very like inviting, helpful. He's a very smart guy, so he could definitely point you in the right directions on how to be successful, like on and off the court. So he helped out a lot, and then, like I said, that team we had was a pretty good group of guys. We ended up winning a cup that year. And then I always felt like, so when you win the cup, it qualifies you for European competition. And I always felt like, man, like I know I'm a pretty good player. Nobody has seen me yet, So I'm like, man, I got to come back to this team just to get on that international stage, So that was kind of one of the main reasons I came back going into the next year.
And was that actually when you got your passport, Romanian passport?
I got that like years later. So that next year, we had a pretty good year. We ended up getting third in what was Euro Challenge back then. I think that's kind of equivalent to like Champions League right now. And that kind of set my career on a different path. So then I think I played pretty good that year. Got some notoriety. The whole team did actually, but got some notoriety. People started taking notice, like, who is this guy? I never heard of him playing in Romania and all these smaller countries. And then I think the people here, they wanted to change around the national team, and I played good. So they asked me if I wanted it. I'm like, yeah, well, let's make it happen.
Go from Romania, and you end up in Turkey. I don't believe we've also had very many guests that have played in Turkey either. That's not a destination that a lot of people have played in, but my understanding is that their league there is at a pretty high level as well in general. What was your general experience there?
So I think at that time, like, it could have been argued that Turkey was and it was actually ranked the best league in Europe at that time. I know people always say Spain, but I think right around then it was kind of like Turkey and Spain were going back and forth for the best league. You had like every team over there was playing some kind of international competition. If it was Champions League or Champions League was the next year. If it was the Euro Cup or Euro League or something, you know what I mean? Like, it was every week, like, you're playing against like a name that's making a lot of money, So that experience was pretty interesting, just coming from a lower level and then making it to probably like one of the highest levels in Europe. You get to play against these guys. Like, of course, you play against like top guys in the summer all the time, but then when you're actually playing against them in official games, you get to see like, okay, this is what's going on. You get to see what this guy is doing. You get to compare yourself, and you know what I mean. Just all that whole aspect of the thing was pretty cool and pretty interesting. And then you get to learn, like, okay, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, and you're learning all on the fly. So it was just a new experience, but then something that you can't let it be an experience, because you have to go out there and produce. Like, you can't you need to figure out what you need to be doing and doing it quick, So it was funny, like when I think in the preseason, so I just came from a team where we shared the ball. I'm playing with Porter. Porter's a high-level guy. He thinks the game. I'm playing with other guys who think the game. You get to Turkey, like we're bringing you here to average 20 points. We don't care about all this other stuff. This is just how it is. So I had to make an adjustment like quick. Like, okay, you're used to playing normal basketball. They don't want you to play normal basketball here. You need to kind of go back to your college days. So it was like, okay. I remember I was talking to my other friend, Shane Lawal. He knew somebody on our team or something like that. I can't remember. He was like, yo, call me now. I'm like, all right, bro. I'll call him. He's like, bro, you need to go over there. You need to stop playing around and being all nice. You need to go kill because I got a call my agent. Or still, it was the agent. He's like, my agent's like, man, they're thinking about bringing another point guard in. I'm like, all right, bro. Like he told me this, changed my whole mindset, and things like kind of took off. And we're better since then.
You actually have gone through a lot there that I want to unpack. I'm trying to figure out which question I want to ask first. Because yeah, both Shane and Porter not only have been guests before, super nice guys that they put us in contact with you and everything, as you know, Shane specifically, but Porter obviously as well. And Porter, I mean, in his interview gave us so much in terms of like understanding of basketball. It's that much is clear. So I've got like 3 questions that I want to ask you. So let's see if I remember them. One was kind of like when you're talking about guys, you play in the summer and everything like that, and take us, I have a pretty good idea of what you're saying, but take us through exactly what you mean in terms of like, all right, this is a person like when you see them in Turkey and what they do in like league environment games that's slightly different than when you see them in the summer.
I don't know. I guess the biggest thing I noticed was like guys really care about their individual success. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, in the summer, you don't put too much like judgment. Okay, it's the summer. Guys go hard in the summer, some guys chill. But it's like you just start to notice like guys, they care about their assists, they care about their points. You know what I mean? And it's like me, I never really cared. I always cared about the end result being a W, you know what I mean? Or making sure we were doing what's important for the team to win. And then it's like, oh, okay. If I want to get, like I'm making cool money now, but if I want to get to like the real money, these individual things matter. And it's sad that it's gotta be like that, but it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like we brought you here to do this. Like I know you think this is how you want to win. And it's like kind of been a thing for me my whole career, but it's like, yeah, you think you need to win like this. No, we want you to win like this. And it's kind of like, I'm the one kind of out here running the show. Like you kind of need to trust me a little bit. And it's like, there's always this tug of war with that situation.
I think one of the other questions I had, this is almost a perfect segue into it too, is that when you're talking about like that one experience where, you had to talk to Shane and everything like that. And, he's hearing rumblings that they're thinking about bringing another point guard, so obviously you got told, I don't want to say directly, but pretty directly that, you basically got to change up your game a little bit as you've gotten through your international career. Is there anything you see as like almost like a telltale sign or something like that? Or do you almost have a conversation with these clubs of saying, look, what is it that you want from me? Because you seem to be like, you're a pretty adaptable player. Like if it's for the team, I can do that. If it's more individual, all right, it's not the way I prefer to play, but I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that something you just kind of feel out like through the first, the preseason or the first few games?
It's funny. Like I've always started off seasons kind of slow because I'm going to fill out my guys. That's just me, and I've learned to go down with me before I'm trying to be what somebody else wants. I'd rather just be comfortable being me. So first couple games, it's always like, what's he doing? But I'm kind of like seeing like, okay, this guy this, or he's doing this. How can I? Because I feel like I can adapt my game. If you need me to score, I can score. If you need me to kind of run a show, I can run a show, So I'm just kind of adapting and seeing what's going on. So good coaches are going to call you in the summer like, this is what I expect from you. Like one of the best coaches I ever had, he told me, like, man, I give my point guards the ball. I give them control. If we win, you get the praise. If we lose, it's going to be your fault. And it was like, I respect him so much for that because a lot of coaches, being a point guard, I loved it, and I just respect him for it because like he gave me the opportunity to be me. Every player wants the opportunity. And sometimes on teams, you're not going to be that guy. They want the wing to be the guy. They want the big man to be the guy. But this coach, actually, when I was playing with Porter my second year, he came in, he's called me and told me right away, like, man, this is going to be your show. Either you're going to do something with it or you're not. And if it's going to be a problem, you might get out of here. Like, and I respect that because you told me right away and you're giving me the opportunity that I really want. So, yeah.
So from Turkey, you end up in France. We were talking a little bit about your experience before the pod. You were at Le Mans. We've had people that have played at Le Mans before. Generally, when people go to France, people have a pretty good time. Your experience, a little bit different.
Yeah, I won't say I hated it, you know what I mean? Because it was just, it's still France, you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of things that you can take off the court and on the court, but I just didn't have the best opportunity. I mean, I didn't have the best time there. I didn't have the best experience there. It just is what it is. Like, the team was so-and-so, like, we could have did better. We didn't. Off the court, it was just kind of like, it just wasn't the best experience for me personally. And it's interesting. I've talked to guys. It's like either they love it or they hate it. I've never seen somebody just in between on the situation, So I don't know. The way they play basketball there wasn't my ideal type. But again, it's an experience that you try to learn from and see what you can do better as a player. And then you just go from there,
What was it about the basketball that wasn't really appealing to your game?
I think I'm like, as you get older, you just want to make basketball as simple as possible. Like, I don't want to take a step back three with 18 seconds on the shot clock. Like, I can get that same shot with 5 seconds. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I just don't feel like that's how they play basketball there. Like, not to like bag on France at all, because I know there's some very high level coaches there, some very high level players there for sure. But just in my eyes, like, it just wasn't my ideal style of basketball, especially when you get older. Now, if I was younger, you just want me to run around and just go try to score and just be free, cool. But I just feel like I've had success in making the game as simple as possible. Like, why are we not doing that here? And it was just a problem,
And so this is 2017. And so we have come up on what has basically been the last country stop of your career. You've been in Romania ever since. Mm-hmm. And you have won the Romanian Cup in 2018, Liga Națională in 2020, Super Cup in 2020 as well. So you had a great deal of success in the previous season. You've been there now for going on 4 years. Is that right?
Coming back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. This is going to be my 4th year coming back. Yeah.
So
my 5th actually.
Yeah, as far as I know, and as far as I can remember, I don't think anybody else has been as long tenured in a single country for a consecutive period than you have. It's pretty close. I know some people have spent 3 years in one place before. It's pretty rare. And from our experience, 3 or 4 years is pretty rare in general for people to stay in one place. So you must really like it there, and you must really like what you're doing. Tell us about the time that you spent there the past couple of years and why you've decided to stick it out.
So yeah, coming back to the whole Romanian passport thing, I was playing in France, and that's kind of when we started finalizing all the papers for the passport. So then I played in France, and then the team over here, they knew I was getting a passport. They wanted, it's definitely a helpful situation to have a player like a foreign player with a passport, So they talked to me, came back over here. It was a pretty good situation. And then I think I was probably 32 around that time, I think 31, 32. So yeah, I've been there. And then it's kind of like when you start getting around that age and you're kind of undersized already, it's like you got to start making smart decisions about what you're going to do. You know what I mean? And again, it's kind of like, do you want to start taking risks again about trying to meet new coaches, new players? You know what I mean? It's just that whole situation. It was already a place that I was in and comfortable with. So I came, it's actually the team I'm on now. The team is called UBT Cluj. I'm playing there. We didn't win the championship. We got the highest budget, most talented, best team. We didn't win the championship that year. I was on basically like a 2-year contract or 1+1. They cut the contract. So in me, like, I've always been kind of like undersized, overlooked. I took that as like disrespect. Like if you think I'm the problem, okay. You know what I mean? So then another team here offered me, and that was my 2nd year after I came back. So I went there with the soul, like, idea of like, if they think I'm the problem, now you're gonna have to deal with who you think the problem is. You know what I mean? So we end up having a pretty good year. We win the championship that year. And then again, that qualified us for Champions League. So I'm like, man, should I stay? I had a two-year contract with that team. I'm like, man, I just had a pretty good year. We won the championship. They gave me MVP in the finals. It's like, do I want to roll the dice and try it again? I'm already 32, going on 33, like trying to get back in Europe, or do I just like settle here? You know, the team, you know, the guys in the league. Again, you know, that whole comfort piece versus trying to be courageous. And it was like, I just chose like, okay, man, you did sign a 2-year contract. You kind of need to honor your contract. I never wanted to be the guy who's breaking contract and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up staying there, stayed with that team for 2 more years. And now I'm back here.
So any particular, people that you know other than Porter, or I mean, if it is Porter that you're looking forward to playing this year, or that kind of like a season outlook?
I mean, well, I'm actually hurt right now. Like my team has been playing. They just had the Super Cup and they had the Champions League qualifiers that they qualified for. So I haven't played in any of these games yet. So I've got a chance to sit back and watch. You know, they just had the Super Cup, and I think they've got some pretty good players over there. I think they got a guy you guys might have. Did you guys interview Gotcha?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That's exactly because we had Vlad went to George Mason, our undergrad, and he transferred to American and finished out. But yeah, Todd is over there as well. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I got a chance to see him play for the first time. I had heard of him. I had never seen him play, but he's a pretty good player, aggressive, can shoot the ball. And I know Vlad, so I think that'll be a pretty good matchup for us. And then my former team, I know all those guys over there too. So that'll be fun to play against them again. You know, so it'll be a pretty interesting season for sure.
And so actually with this particular season, obviously wish you speedy recovery, but looking ahead, how much longer do you think that you want to play? And are there any other countries that you're kind of looking to play in, or are you just really looking to play for as long as possible, whether that's in Romania or anywhere, it doesn't matter?
I mean, it's funny. Like I was talking to one of my teammates, he's a year younger than me. Like I turned 36 in October and he's, I think he's 34. So he's going to turn 35 pretty soon. He's like, gee, how long you want to play? He's like, man, I'm like, bro, I take it year by year. And sometimes I take it day by day. You know what I mean? Because it's like your body is like, of course you're still healthy and can play, but sometimes you just have little knick-knack things that just bug you. And it's like, man, I'm still dealing with this. Like, how long do I want to deal with this? Or it's more so just annoying, you know, like you got to warm up a little longer now, or you might have to recover a little longer, things like that. And then for me, like I said, I'm single. I don't have any kids. Sometimes I just wonder, like, how long are you going to play before you actually like decide to be like a real adult? You know what I mean? And like start a life. You know what I mean? So it's like I think about things like this a lot. So yeah, I really just take it year by year, man. As long as I'm still enjoying it and I can still compete at a high level, I'll probably keep playing. But then there's sometimes I just think like, man, like I need to start a life in America pretty soon. You know what I mean? Like you've been living in Europe before. This is my 14th season, you know, and it's not going to last for forever. So sooner or later, you need to like make that happen.
2 things about that. Number 1, 14 years in Europe. I do not weep for you, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, related to the first, take it from 2 normal adults. It's overrated.
I was actually going to even say is like, you could have a whole conversation on what is a normal adult life. I mean, like, that's a whole nother topic.
I mean, and it's funny. I mean, people always say the grass is always greener on the other side. You know what I mean? And it's like, for sure, I don't take playing basketball and living abroad for granted, because it's been a beautiful thing. Like it's really been a beautiful thing and I enjoy it, you know, but I just look at it like, and that's like what I have to tell myself. Like, am I really feeling like this, or am I just feeling like the grass is green over there because you get this, you're missing out on weddings, or you don't have any kids and you're thinking like, man, one of these days I need to do this. I'm gonna be 50 having a 2-year-old run around. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you think about things like this. So it's like, as much as I think about it, I don't stress about it. I think God has a plan for my life and I kind of just roll with it like that.
Thank you for watching this episode of Expat Hoops. If you want to watch more, you can find suggested videos or 2 over here. Also, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. You can subscribe easily over here. Subscribing helps us and allows us to do more cool stuff to bring to you. Speaking of which, we're also excited to announce some of the new things going on over our Patreon page. So if you become a member over there, you'll get to see some of the cool new extra stuff we're doing to add to our viewer and listener experience as we chronicle the stories of basketball players' experience around the globe.